2 families with children as young as 8 have blown themselves up in a spate of barbaric suicide attacks that have stunned Indonesia and put the country on high alert. Members of a 3rd family of suspected Islamist extremists died when homemade bombs exploded prematurely as police stormed a flat and opened fire. British tourists have been warned further attacks are likely. ISIS claimed responsibility after 2 girls aged 9 and 12 were among a family of 6 who killed 14 people in blasts on 3 Christian churches in Surabaya on Sunday. A new suicide attack carried out by a family of 5, including a girl aged 8, targeted a police station in Indonesia's 2nd largest city on Monday. One family carried out a series of bombings at 3 churches, image, AFP. The family were riding on 2 motorbikes when they blew themselves up at a checkpoint outside the police station. The 8-year-old girl was thrown during the explosion and was the lone family member to survive. The attack left at least 10 police officers and civilians wounded. Smoke billows from an explosion outside the Pentecost Central Church in Surabaya, image, AFP. Armed officers respond to a blast outside a police station on Monday, image, Reuters. In Sunday's attacks, a father named as Dita Supriyanto dropped off his wife, Puji Kuswat, and their daughters, aged 9 and 12, outside the Indonesian Christian church, where they detonated a bomb inside. Supriyanto then drove to the Pentecost Central Church where he blew up his van outside. His sons, aged 16 and 18, carried out the 3rd attack when they drove to Santa Maria Catholic Church on a motorbike and set off bombs across their laps. The churches were attacked by a family with children as young as 9, image, Reuters. A police officer stands guard outside an apartment building where bombs exploded prematurely, image, Rex/Shutterstock. Police said wave of attacks was carried out in retaliation for the arrest of radical cleric Aman Abdurrahman, the alleged leader of the ISIS-linked Jaiman-Syat-Daulah domestic terror group. He is facing trial for a number of deadly bombings in Indonesia. Indonesia has brought in the military to back up police across the Southeast Asian country following the suicide blasts which were captured by CCTV. A motorcycle damaged from an explosion outside the Pentecost Central Church, image, AFP. The attack on the police headquarters has stoked fears in East Java, image, Rex/Shutterstock. President Joko Widodo said a series of attacks in Surabaya, in East Java, was the act of cowards as he reassured the nation that security had been increased. He also pledged a new anti-terrorism bill to combat Islamist militants. The president said in a televised address, "This is the act of cowards, undignified and barbaric." Bombs exploded prematurely at a flat in Sidoarjo on Sunday night, image, AFP. In a 3rd incident, 3 members of a family were killed when homemade devices exploded at a flat in Sidoarjo, near Surabaya, as police arrived. Anton Febrianto, 47, and his wife Puspitasari, 47, were plotting an attack on an undisclosed target in Surabaya along with their 4 children aged 10, 11, 15 and 17, authorities claim. The father was holding a bomb trigger when police arrived at the flat on Sunday and was shot by the officers as the bombs exploded, said police. Indonesia is bringing in its military to back up police, image, Rex/Shutterstock. Meanwhile, police had initially said the family that blew themselves up at the churches on Sunday had returned to Indonesia after living in Syria. But on Monday police said the family had not traveled to Syria. The family were members of the Jaiman-Shaat Daulah (JAD) jihadi group, which has pledged allegiance to ISIS. The group has been blamed for a number of deadly blasts in Indonesia, including a January 2016 suicide bomb and gun attack which left 4 dead in the capital Jakarta. Parents have used their children to carry out the suicide attacks. Image, Reuters. That attack was also claimed by ISIS and was allegedly orchestrated by Abdurrahman. It is estimated that 700 Indonesians have traveled to Syria to fight, with the majority joining ISIS, the country's government has said. In October 2002, more than 200 people, many of them tourists, were killed in 3 explosions in or near nightclubs in Bali. The attacks were carried out by the domestic terror group Jemaah Islamiyah and Al-Qaeda. British holidaymakers warned of further attacks in Indonesia. Britain's Foreign Office has warned tourists that terrorists are very likely to carry out further attacks in Indonesia, famous for its idyllic beaches and nightlife. The government has updated its travel advice following the latest attacks. It has not advised against travel to any specific areas. It said, terrorist groups have the capacity and intent to carry out attacks at any time and anywhere in the country. Type of attacks have included suicide bombings and small arms fire, targeting public and crowded places. One of the terrorists involved in an attack in Jakarta in 2016, image, Photoshop. The threat from Islamist extremism remains high, though the Indonesian authorities continue to disrupt attack planning, including arresting alleged terrorists reportedly in the advanced stages of preparation. Indonesian government, law enforcement interests and places of worship are regularly targeted by extremists. Western interests are also at risk. Attacks could be indiscriminate, including in places frequented by foreigners. Beach resorts, bars and restaurants, hotels, markets, shopping malls hosting major international brand outlets, tourist attractions, places of worship, foreign embassies, ferry terminals and airports are all potential targets. Be vigilant and take care at all times. Tourists should regularly review their security arrangements and be particularly vigilant during holiday periods, including Christmas and New Year's Eve. The Foreign Office added, there is considered to be a heightened threat of terrorist attack globally against UK interests and British nationals, from groups or individuals motivated by the conflict in Iraq and Syria. You should be vigilant at this time.